Yo, what is up, guys? It is Sage Samurai here, and this is What If Naofumi Had Whitebeard's Powers, Part 4. So this is Part 4 to the series, guys. So I want to come out with a little bit of announcement. So I was, bored, of course, so I was going to go ahead and, search around through all my videos. I was searching through all my Sage Samurai videos, and I realized that a lot of these series that I did, when I was watching them, some of them I didn't even like. Some of them didn't even get completed, and some of them just pretty much flopped. Now, this was back during the time where I didn't know about YouTube, and I didn't know about that views decreased and everything, because I pretty much thought I began panicking and everything. And I just realized that, so much of my videos that I did not like, are there, and pretty much I decided that I was going to do this. One, I'm gonna first of all remake all of them not all of them, but I'm gonna remake the ones that I did not like and turn them better because like I said, I like doing certain ways I like to do my stories. So yeah, so I'm gonna do that. Another thing I'm gonna do is pretty much just go ahead and try to get better at the What If game. Plus, I'm also getting a mic. Yeah, I'm planning to get a new mic for my computer, because considering the fact that I pretty much, I'm trying to make my What Ifs more professional and more elite and everything, so that way I can bring the What If content better to you. Plus, just to let you guys know, I'm also been practicing animation, so yes, there's that. But either way, enough of me talking about this stuff. That was just a little bit of an announcement. But either way, I hope you all do enjoy, and either way, let's get started.
You're never gonna make it, you're not good enough. There's a million other people with the same stuff. You really think you're different? Man, you must be kidding. Think you're gonna hit it, but you just don't get it. It's impossible, it's not probable, you're irresponsible. Too many obstacles, you gotta stop it, yo. You gotta take it slow, you can't be a pro. Don't waste your time no more. Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do?
Alright, guys, so let's go ahead and get started with this What If. So, guys, we started with this What If with Naofumi, who had now just gone ahead and really wondering, how the heck does this world even operate at this point? So, Naofumi had just figured out that the little girl that he had, struck him was really Philo. Or should I go ahead and say his new name, which I went ahead and picked one from the comments. So, yes. So, Philo's name would now be Jane, as that was the recommendation thanks to Boy Pancake. As I want to go ahead and actually thank him. I pinned his comment down on part 3, so if you guys want to know who he is, I pinned him on part 3 of What If Naofumi. So yeah, you guys can go ahead and show some support, like the comment, and pretty much thank him for the name. Which, by the way, love the name, Boy Pancake. Nice. So let me go ahead and let me continue on with the story. So Naofumi, after a while, it's been a while since the Moriyasu fight, as Naofumi had to take a little bit of a side quest for the now named Jane. As Jane, he realized immediately that whenever Jane went ahead and put on any type of clothing or pretty much anything, as soon as she enters and exits out of her familial form, the clothing would be gone. As this caused her to literally appear without any clothes on, which, yeah, that would be very bad. Very bad. So Naofumi had to go ahead and find fabric for her clothing, so this caused him to go all the way back to the very place that he hated, the capital. As when he had go ahead and arrived there, he goes to a certain shop asking the lady if she can make something for Jane, which the lady, as soon as she sees Jane, would instantly go on a full-on spring, saying, "Oh my gosh, she looks so precious and everything," as she tells him that she needs a certain fabric. So due to that, well, Naofumi would do just as he asked. He would go actually by himself on this one, even though Raptalia and pretty much the others that, tell him we need to stick together, but Naofumi told him that it'll be faster if he just does it by himself, which he did so. It only took him 3 days to return back, while really Raptalia and Jane pretty much stayed in the capital all by themselves, which did cause a little bit of a problem. Now, after pretty much people would go ahead and look at them, and they were disgusted that these creatures were in there, considering the fact that some people were scumbags. As some of them even tried to attack them, considering the fact that, considering the fact that they're, demi-humans, and pretty much how they're not really at equals with humans in that world. But pretty much Raftalia and Jane put them in their place, which caused them to be feared. As by the time that Naofumi had returned, the word had spread to the king that the dreaded Shield Heroes party was here and that the Shield Hero was here, causing the king to be pissed off. Now, as Naofumi went ahead and arrived, he already had the fabric that was needed as he paid for it fully, which luckily it worked. As when the fabric went ahead and was, created for Jane, she went ahead and put it on, and she instantly loved it. As well as Naofumi had also bought them some new gear, thanks to their hookup, the blacksmith, considering the fact, that guy's the real G. So of course he's gonna hook them up. As after the party was fully decked out, Naofumi, with a big smile on his face, told them that it was finally time for them to continue on with their journey, which they would gladly do so. So after that, Naofumi went ahead and left, and pretty much their journey had once again continued, with Philo went ahead and pushing the cart. As we go ahead and now cut to the present. Now, Naofumi during the trip had also went ahead and actually gained a title of the Wandering Merchant, as he actually became a merchant. He would sell his, herbs that he went ahead and pretty much used his abilities of the shield to go ahead and make them higher quality, as well as he would go ahead and trade, and pretty much he was creating like this business. As due to that, he was making a large amount of profit very quick and very easily. As Naofumi was currently right now just sitting down, relaxing, while Jane goes ahead and pushes the cart. This is when suddenly he would then sense something. Something's wrong, he would say. At this, he would go ahead and actually begin to look up, as he would then see this man who is currently right now just pretty much getting hassled by these guys. As, these guys were just like random bandits, of course, as these guys were currently beating the crap out of him. As seeing this, Naofumi does the one thing that was essential, and that was to beat their ass. Naofumi would sprung into action, jumping out the cart, as well as Raftalia. They instantly take care of the bandits in an instant, rescuing the guy. Thank you, sir, he would say as he looks at Naofumi as if, he was his savior, which Naofumi just shakes his head saying, it's okay. Now, what the heck were you doing? He would ask. At this, the man would look down as he begins to explain the whole story that he was trying to get this medicine for his mother, who was very ill. At this, Naofumi would go ahead and nod, saying that if the man needed a lift, he can go ahead and come with them, which the man would gladly accept. So with that, Naofumi would go ahead and, allow the man to ride with them, as they would arrive at a certain village to where they would see this old sickly lady who was laying on her bed. At this, Raftalia would actually feel upset for this, considering the fact that, that really sucked, really, as the man would go ahead and give his mother the medicines. As Naofumi would look at this, however, he would go ahead and take a look at the medicine and only realize that it wasn't even high quality. It was completely like poor quality medicines. As the man would only give his mother a couple of drops of it, the woman would just, she would ease up for a little bit, but then return immediately back to being ill, as the man was about to give her some more, but Naofumi would grab his hand. What are you doing? He would say. At this, Naofumi would shake his head and says, give me that real quick. At this, the man was reluctant about it, but he decided to give it to Naofumi, as Naofumi would then use his shield, as he goes ahead and pretty much uses his shield to upgrade the quality of the potion or whatever, to make it the effects more stronger and long lasting. As by the time Naofumi was done, he pretty much created a high quality elixir for the lady to recover quicker. Here, it seems like whoever gave you this was really a cheapskate. It wasn't even going to help her. At this, the man looked on in shock, as he then goes ahead and actually bows his head, thanking Naofumi over 1,000 times, as this time when he gives it to his mother, she feels immediately well. Thank you, she would say, as her son was right now looking on in shock, as he begins to cry, hugging his mother. At this, Naofumi would give them a smile, as he tells them that it was fine, as he actually asked them if there was another village nearby, which she'll explain that there was one that was all the way on the other side. At this, Naofumi would nod as he would go ahead and hop onto his wagon, of course, and continue on with his journey, with with Jane and Raftalia. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and do a time skip to when Naofumi and his group arrive at a certain village. As Naofumi was just relaxing in the back seat, vibing, he would go ahead and sense this weird aura. It just felt wrong. As Naofumi would go ahead and stop the cart. Jane, come on, let's go, he would say. At this, Jane would go ahead and nod as she transforms back to her normal form, as Raftalia would also get out of there. What's wrong, Naofumi? She would ask. At this, Naofumi shakes his head as he begins to explain that he sensed something wrong with this place. Like, really wrong. As when the group goes ahead and arrives, they'll see that this place had been, like, pretty much, it looks like a freaking forest in here. All the roots and everything, they look out of proportion big, and pretty much everything else looks like it was just wrapped around in this, in their own harvage. What is going on here? Raftalia would ask. This is when suddenly a villager would then shout, "Oh, get out of here!" he would say. At this, Naofumi and the rest of the party would in turn, only to see a couple of villagers that were in hiding, currently right now looking at them. "You need to get out of here," he would say. At this, Naofumi would go ahead and look at them, while Raftalia tries to ask about what happened, but Naofumi already beat her to the punch. "What happened here?" he would ask. At this, the villagers were surprised that even though he didn't run away, but still, they decided to shrug it off, considering the fact, like, it already happened, there's nothing they can do, so they began to explain about what had occurred. So, pretty much their village was going through sort of a starvation phase, as all their crops and everything were pretty much dying, and they pretty much had no food. However, that was what happened, until one hero went ahead and actually decided to get this legendary seed that was cursed, so that way the villagers can go ahead and get their meals and prosper. As when the hero returned, he went ahead and gave them the seed, planting it, even though they all knew the curse about it. And pretty much after that, well, what do you expect to happen? The curse had activated, and the weeds began to really become more animal-like, more monster-like, as they begin to actually attack people that go near it. As by the time they were done with the story, each one of the members of Naofumi's group would look at them as if they were stupid. "Okay, so let me get this straight. You guys," he would look at the villagers who would nod, "you went ahead and pretty much planted a cursed seed that you knew about its origins, and you only did it because you believed in the hero," he would say. At this, the villagers would nod their head again, actually looking down in shame this time, as Naofumi would go ahead and shake his head. "Are you stupid?" At this, the villagers were in shock, as, Raftalia will have to hold back that chuckle, because, Naofumi's the only one who can go ahead and just freaking say that with no freaking remorse whatsoever. "No, I'm genuinely asking, are you stupid? You knew about its origins, and you automatically believe, oh, just because a hero gave it to you, it's automatically better? You should have trusted in your own instinct. Just because he's a hero doesn't mean that automatically everything that he says is true. He's not Kami, he's not God, so don't go ahead and believe him." At this, you'll go ahead and look down in shame, as Naofumi goes ahead and sighs. "You know what? Doesn't even matter anymore. I'll take care of it," he would say. At this, the villagers were in shock, as they were asking, really, would you do so? At this, Naofumi would nod, but this is when he would then give them a grin. Now, this was not a friendly grin. This was a grin of some of those people that were going to go ahead and overcharge people. As Jane and Raftalia would look at Naofumi and begin to shake their head. Oh my god, he's at it again. As, Jane would look away. "Master, you really are creepy sometimes." This is when Naofumi begins to say that if he wins, that he gets half of the crops. He gets half of the things that this monster, whatever this thing drops is his, and that he could sell it. At this, the people would go ahead and nod at this. However, little did they know, what the heck did they just do? Alright, I'm going to go ahead and deal with this. Or, Raftalia, do you want to deal with this? Or, how about you, Jane? At this, they'll go ahead and actually ask, who wants to deal with this first. But this is when automatically Jane goes ahead and accepts, as she wants to test out her power. So with that, Jane will then transform into her familial form, as she will then dash off at amazing speed. So how much you want to bet that she's gonna take it down in 15 seconds tops, said Naofumi. At this, Raftali will then look at him and say, I'll do you better. I bet she beats it in 13. At this, Naofumi goes ahead and, shakes her hand, implying that the deal was on. As soon as, Philo begins to dash forward, a bunch of the weeds and everything that was around it begins to rush over to her. As Jane will go ahead and actually dodge every last one of them. Dodging it all, she actually kicks it away extremely fast. As eventually she will actually get close enough until she begins to charge up wind magic to her wings. Take this, she would say, as she goes ahead and shoots in a razor wind attack, which was a wind attack that went ahead and pretty much cut things up. As when the attack went ahead and slammed against the branch, it cut right through it. At this, the villagers were actually in shock at this, as the branch went ahead and actually fell down, of course, as this was pretty much the main power source of it. Dang it, Naofumi would think. As Raphtalia was way closer to him, as technically Jane went ahead and beat it in 12 seconds. Fine, here's the money, he would say, as he goes ahead and gives her a bag of coins, which Raphtalia was so happy of getting, as she begins to mouthwater of all the sweets she can get. Which, by the way, Raphtalia has a very big sweet tooth. As right now she was just wondering about all the candies and stuff like that, while Naofumi begins to walk over to Jane. So, I took care of it, master, she will say. At this, Naofumi would nod as he goes ahead and pats her on the head, much to Jane's happiness. At this, the villagers were now cheering as they now believed that the curse was gone. As Naofumi will go ahead and actually grab one of the shrubs that were there, as he begins to use the power of the shield to go ahead and manipulate it. At this, everyone will look on at Naofumi, as they would then see as the herb would then transform into high quality. What? They would shout. At this, Naofumi would then give them a grin. Thank you for doing business, he would say. As he goes ahead and actually begins to use the power of the shield to go ahead and pretty much up the quality of the fruit, pretty much purifying it of its curse, as he went ahead and made it to a high quality one. As pretty much now Naofumi had pretty much nearly infinite high quality merchandise that he could probably sell. As right now the people were right now in shock, but due to Naofumi feeling a little bit bad, he goes ahead and leaves a couple of batches of it, so that way the people can go ahead and still proceed with their crops. As well as he went ahead and made the seed even better, so that way it doesn't go ahead and start attacking people. So he gives them the seed, but everything else that he went ahead and took, it's his now. He's not giving that up. So after that, everyone in the village began to thank Naofumi, pretty much praising him, thanking him for everything. But Naofumi would just tell them that it was all good. He already got everything that he needed, and that it's better yet that if they want to thank him, then they should take care of their land. At this, they will go ahead and nod, as Naofumi and his party would then realize that it was time to go, which they would do so, as they go ahead and wave goodbye at the village. Hopefully, they'll get better. So after that, Naofumi goes ahead and continues on in his journey, where he continues doing what he does best, being a merchant, selling stuff. He would actually begin to take people on rides, accompanying them, as that's when Naofumi's name once again changed, as he began to change from his name of being, Naofumi the Wandering Merchant, to now being the Savior of the Fallen. As he did not really like the name, considering the fact to him it just sounded stupid, but I guess that's what people are going to be calling him by now. As he would actually gain one request by a merchant. He was a wealthy one. As when Naofumi goes ahead and arrives to where he was, the merchant would be surprised. I can't believe it. I'm being escorted by the savior of the heavenly fallen, he would say. At this, Naofumi would just sigh and says, "Go back to wandering merchant. That at least looked mysterious." At this, the man would just, chuckle as he goes ahead and sits down in the carriage with Naofumi, as Naofumi would tell Jane to on forward, which she would do so. As Naofumi and the man were discussing about where the man was going, and the man was pretty much talking to Naofumi, during their travel, they would then be encountered by some bandits as they go ahead and surround the carts. "Hey, hand over everything that you have now," he would say, as Naofumi would then realize that they were surrounded. "Oh my god," he would say. At this, Raphtalia would actually ask if she could take care of it, but this is when Naofumi shakes his head. He's like, "Nah, I got it," as he goes ahead and jumps out of the cart. As when he jumps out of there, the men will go ahead and look around at Naofumi, only to see that he had a shield, as they would then have a very predatory smirk. "Alright, I know who you are. You're the shield hero. You're that abomination of one, at least," he would say, as he goes ahead and begins to laugh along with all his friends. They begin to shit talk Naofumi, begin to telling him how that he was pathetic and that they were going to rob him of everything. It didn't matter if he was a shield hero. At this, Naofumi just thought, he's like, "I'm going to give you 1 second. Not even give you 1 second. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds until get out of my face. Because if not, I'm going to drop every last one of y'all in one instance." At this, the men go ahead and stop whatever they were doing until they once again burst out laughing. As they actually said, "Do you really expect us to believe that? It doesn't matter if you're the shield hero. You're nothing but a pathetic weakling. That's why you're kicked out of the kingdom," he would say. At this, Naofumi didn't even fall for the taunt. He even says, "Your funeral." As the men hearing this get ticked off, as the Alden will then tell, "Charge!" as they go ahead and rush at Naofumi with the battle cry. At this, Naofumi would do nothing until suddenly he would then open his eyes, as he would then flash it, his conqueror's haki. The merchant would go ahead and begin to sense it as well, as he himself was about to pass out if it weren't for Raphtalia, who was actually also having a hard time. No matter how long that she spent time with Naofumi, that conqueror's haki was something that it was hard for her to get used to. As for, Jane, she was not holding up very well, as she was nearly passing out from it. As for the men, they were knocked out immediately. These men were instantly not even a chance for Naofumi, as they all hit the ground with a thud. "Well, that was easy," Naofumi would say, as he would then turn back to everyone else, who were right now just looking at Naofumi. "What? They attacked me first. To be honest, they lucky all I did was hit them with that." At this, the man was in shock of just the pure power of Naofumi, while the other members of the group just looked at him like, "You idiot," as they could have really have just passed out there. And then they would have been stuck here in the middle of nowhere. So after that, Naofumi would then tie up the bandits. He would then ask what they want, with the bandits just saying that they were not going to tell him anything, as they'll go ahead and tell him that it's not like he can do anything to them, considering the fact that he's the shield hero. At this, Naofumi goes ahead and looks at him, as Raphtalia and Jane go ahead and look away, considering the fact they already know what was going on. At this, Naofumi's fist would then wrap around in a whitish aura, as he then slams it to the air to the side of him, and suddenly a ginormous shockwave, pretty much a sonic boom, would then shoot out of it, causing the ground itself, pretty much causing a miniature earthquake in the area that they were in, terrifying the bandits and also the merchant himself. The wandering merchant, he's so powerful, and he's a shield hero? He couldn't believe it. As for the men, they were actually in fear, as Naofumi would point his fist directly at him. "You were saying?" At this, the men begin to panic as they begin to explain the whole circumstances about how someone had hired them. At this, Naofumi would go ahead and narrow his eyes at this someone, as he really wondered. Don't tell me that freaking... Oh my god, I have not even seen her in a while now, and she's already causing me problems? Fucking bitch, he wonders. As he was talking about a certain woman who is currently right now just, sneezed at something. "Maybe Moriyasu-sama is talking about me," said this someone. Yeah, right. As Naofumi would go ahead and shake his head, he would go ahead and knock every last one of them out and laid them out on the curb, as he tells them that they should continue on, which they would do so. As the merchant would ask Naofumi, "Are you really the shield hero?" which Naofumi would nod, as this man was so shocked, as he can't wait to tell his other friends that he was traveling with the wandering merchant plus the shield hero, who was the shield hero, which, that was going to give Naofumi a lot of reputation. As Naofumi and the group got back on the wagon, they'll go ahead and continue on their way as the man actually begins to ask Naofumi questions. As after a while talking, the man actually begins to actually try to teach Naofumi some certain tricks of, being a merchant, that being like, some other things. As after a while of teaching Naofumi a while things, he also begins to explain the other things about the other heroes. And Naofumi, he wasn't too much in tune as he didn't really want to know much about what those idiots do. As to them, as well, mostly to him, they were nothing but a bunch of screw-ups and fuck-ups. Like, they're nothing to him. As while walking, while riding, eventually they'll arrive at their destination, which the merchant will go ahead and actually thank Naofumi for it, which Naofumi will nod his head, saying that, if you ever need a lift, just tell him. As the merchant would nod, he will go ahead and continue on, while Naofumi and the group continue on with their journey. So pretty much after that, the group will continue to go through places. Eventually, though, they did have to return back to, the capital. As, Naofumi has been, grinding up levels, and pretty much they were already pretty much at extremely high levels, and there was not really much for them to do. So they decided to go ahead and return back. However, as they were returning back to, where they needed to go, they will actually go ahead and stop by at a certain place, as a man wanted a lift to go back to a certain village. Now, as they were actually going to that certain village, they'll go ahead and be surprised as when they go ahead and see this village, it looked dead. Like, literally, it looked like, it looked nearly homeless. Oh, who could live here? Thought Rautalia. As this village looked like this village looked like an entire disease. As the man would go ahead and enter in there, Naofumi would also walk in there as well, as he will see a bunch of gravestones and he will see a bunch of disturbing stuff. What the hell's going on here? He wondered. As when he arrives at the place where the man was taking them, he'll look inside only to see a bunch of people in, pretty much in bed sheets right now, just laying there in pretty much agonizing pain. It hurts, one kid says, as the other ones begin to whimper in pain, as the man will go ahead and bring one to a young boy who is actually hurting right now. At this, Naofumi will go ahead and look at him, as you see that the boy had he had this weird thing. What happened here? Naofumi would ask, as he sees them covered in bandages and stuff like that. At this one suddenly the doctor of the place begins to walk over to him. Well, you see, he would say, as he begins to explain the story. So apparently this hero went ahead and came to a certain village to go ahead and actually help out the place. As Naofumi, when hearing the story, begins to realize who this hero is. Oh my fuck. You idiot, he wondered, as the man continues on. As the hero went ahead and actually fought a dragon that was terrorizing the village, he would have slain the dragon completely. However, there was a problem. Due to him not discarding the corpse of the dragon, it went ahead and caused an infestation to reign all over the village, causing a sort of a pandemic, as it killed multiple, if not millions of people. Well, not millions, but it killed a lot of people in the village. And by the time that he was done, Naofumi at this point was like getting angry, as he was slowly but releasing like a pressure that was coming off of him, causing literally like some of the wood in the area that he was in to literally start breaking just due to his conqueror's hockey flaring up. And so as the people were literally like backing away from him. So you're telling me that this idiot went ahead and took down a dragon and automatically thought that as soon as the dragon was defeated, it was gonna take care of itself? This is not an RPG. At this, Naofumi gets angry as he goes ahead and sighs, as he goes ahead and actually begins to try his best to help out with the people here. Now, due to the fact that Naofumi's way stronger than he was in canon, Naofumi would actually be able to heal them much better than he did in canon, giving them herbs and medicine, as the people actually begin to feel better. At this, however, he realized that even though he healed up these people, it still didn't make up for the fact that multiple lives were lost, and it was all thanks to that idiot. At this, he goes ahead and asks them if they know where the corpse of the dragon was, which they go ahead and begin to explain that it was up by the hillside. At this, Naofumi will go ahead and nod, as he goes ahead and tells his party that we're gonna take care of this, because it seems like we're gonna have to take of the little boy's mess. At this, instantly Raphtalia and Jane would go ahead and agree to this, considering the fact that they were pissed off as well. Cause like, what type of bastard does this? So with that, Naofumi will go ahead and begin to pretty much walk away, as well as Raphtalia and his party, as they were now finally heading towards the dragon. What will happen? Will Naofumi be able to bring the end to this pandemic? Will the heroes catch word of this? What would Naofumi face in the next part? Well, you're gonna have to find out in the next part. Sorry if this part was, short, 30 minutes. I probably could have gone for like 40 or something like that. But I need to I need to rewatch it, the Shield Hero again. Considering the fact, come on now. I continue getting some of the things confused. So yeah, I need to start rewatching it again and stuff like that. Which I completely don't mind, considering it's such a fire ass show. Which, by the way, I recommend, if you have not watched Shield Hero, I recommend that you watch it. Such a goated anime, and you would pretty much like it. But anyway, besides that, it is Sage Samurai, and I am out. Peace.